Hey YouTube, Angelo here, and today I'm going to be giving my perspective on Dave Lee's bull and bear case regarding Lemonade Insurance that he laid out on Couch Investor's YouTube channel. He made some great points about the potential upside and downside that Lemonade has moving forward, but I think he forgot to mention some core aspects of the value proposition that Lemonade presents. And I thought I should extrapolate. Definitely check out these two guys if you haven't. Couch Investor and Dave Lee are very, very intelligent. They put out fantastic content and they've taught me so much about investing and the philosophy behind getting outsized gains in the stock market. I respect these guys greatly, but they didn't cover Lemonade completely. So I thought I should add another perspective. Hope you enjoy.
The second thing is I love companies who have grand ambition, just like we were talking about earlier. And when you hear Lemonade, their CEO and also their CTO, and you hear grand ambition, right? Yeah. Like they talk about insurance companies and wanting to dominate or be one of the biggest players in this whole insurance industry, one of the biggest industries in the world. And I love that talk, it's like, that's fantastic. I'm like, that's what, hey man, like if anyone out there has found any CEO or founder that has that type of ambition, like please direct message me on Twitter. Like my DMs are open. Let me know, who these CEOs are, because I want to look into these guys, right? Who are these guys who are, who are the next Elon Musk in the sense of their ambition, the next Steve Jobs, the next Jeff Bezos, etc. Shopify also has grand ambitions, but yeah, when I look at Lemonade, I'm like, whoa, man, you guys talk the talk at least. Like, you guys have the ambition. So let's see if you guys walk the walk.
I completely agree with Dave Lee here. Lemonade's CEO Daniel has come out many times and said that their main goal in creating this insurance company is to try to be one of the iconic insurance companies of the 21st century. I think they're showing signs of that. They're expanding internationally. And I love how Shai and Daniel are approaching the CEO role almost similar to Elon. It's not exactly the same as Elon. Almost no one can be like Elon, obviously, but they're engaging retail investors on Twitter. They're responding to comments. They're taking the criticisms of Twitter in stride and attempting to fix the issues as fast as possible. And they have a long term time horizon. I think that Couch Investor mentions later in this video that it takes a long time to build a insurance company. They're only 4 years old, and the great insurance companies of the United States have been building their brand for sometimes over hundreds of years. The long-term mindset of Lemonade makes me at least believe in their ambition and makes me think that it's actually possible that they could build an iconic 21st century company. And also, they're willing to engage the investor community. They go on podcasts, they go on talk shows, they're on CNBC all the time. And this is something I think is a trait that many of the great leaders have. They're willing to put their ideas out there and they're willing to get the word out about their company's potential. And that's something else I deeply respect about them. Now, let's get more of Dave's thoughts.
And the third thing is I'm just using the product myself, getting quotes, and doing my own research on how people are using it and seeing reviews and all this stuff, and also getting experience through traditional insurances. Like for example, we were getting a quote. We did it through Lemonade. We did it through a traditional thing, and it was just like such night and day difference, right? I still think Lemonade still has a ways to improve their trust and brand. And I think that's one of the key things is with insurance, that's so important. You want the insurance company to be around when you need them in 10 years and 20 years, et cetera. being a new company is one of Lemonade's most difficult challenges to overcome because they're like, who is this company, right? Do I want to trust State Farm with my homeowners insurance, or do I want to trust Lemonade? Like, and there's going to be a point where, initially Lemonade has to counter that disadvantage by either doing a lower price or better coverage or something to offset that the brand loyalty and trust that these bigger companies have. But at a certain point, there's going to be a tipping point where people feel that Lemonade has been around long enough, they're big enough, all this stuff, they're strong enough where Lemonade can offer similar coverage and similar price, but people would choose Lemonade over because there's a better reputation for Lemonade. I personally don't think that time has come yet.
I completely agree with Dave here. Obviously, successful insurance company needs its customers to trust them to be there when the times get hard. But I think that's where Lemonade actually has a massive advantage compared to the incumbents. Not quite in the zeitgeist yet, or not quite in the typical consumer's consciousness, but for anyone that knows about Lemonade, we know that Lemonade is trying to remove the zero sum incentives from the insurance industry. So what they're doing, and anyone who's looked at Lemonade knows this already, but just to lay it out quickly, is they take a flat fee from all premiums paid, around 25%. The rest of that money goes into a different pot that is then used to pay claims and to cover any claims that come up. What this does is it removes the incentive for insurance companies to deny your claims or make it unnecessarily difficult to get paid, because Lemonade's already made their profit. Their incentive is to pay your claims as fast as possible. And this fundamental change in the approach to insurance makes me believe that over time, Lemonade is going to gain more and more and more trust in the insurance industry and the consumer mindset. They've created a fundamentally different relationship with the consumer. And I think that's important to note when talking about the trust that people have in Lemonade. It's almost a core feature of the business model.
Yeah, but on Lemonade's side, they're doing what they need to do the impossible, which is to take on an incumbent and actually match them with trust and brand. And then eventually overtaking them, it's just, that's they just have all the momentum in the world at that point. No one can catch them. Or there could be, people who follow them and stuff, but once they reach that tipping point, it's takeoff from there.
Yeah, I think with Lemonade they also have a big advantage. First of all, a large chunk of their customers are first-time insurance users, buyers. And just looking at the company, just like Cash App, they attract the younger audience. Obviously, they try to attract the renters first, and then as they graduate, obviously, cost of acquisition is very low, but the premiums and revenue for the next couple of years are probably going to grow and grow. And that's why, like you said, in a couple of years, you will see that tipping point. It's just like a flick of the button, you suddenly see a huge increase, I think so, in revenue and in growth of the company. But it will take some time. I think a lot of people right now are maybe not as patient as us, but in insurance, you need to have patience and time. Like those insurance companies are here 50, 100 years. Lemonade is just 5 years old. So in the future, I do believe this company, and even if it doesn't become the number one insurance company in the world, being in the top 5 is big enough.
Yeah. I mean, so another kind of angle or kind of risk factor for Lemonade is they entered renters insurance as their first big thing. And it was kind of this unloved and neglected insurance field. The big insurance companies didn't really want to do much in that. And Lemonade found an opportunity to really provide, a decent product, sign up process, claim process at a cheap price. And other companies, it's hard to match that price because everything requires marketing and customer acquisition costs. And so Lemonade really found their footing in renters insurance, and they established their name and their brand, and that's where they got the bulk of their customers, young customers. The question and the risk factor for Lemonade is, can they reproduce that in other fields that aren't as neglected and that insurance companies really care about and want to fight over, right? So that is a big question. Then one of the reasons why I think they did pet insurance next is kind of, well, they did home insurance too, but one of the reasons pet insurance, it seems kind of like another unloved kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, does State Farm really stay up late at night thinking about strategies on how to get into pet insurance? It's kind of like, oh my gosh, pet insurance, like whatever, who cares? So Lemonade loves those type of places, right? Because they could establish their foothold and grab their young customers and then bring them into the ecosystem of Lemonade products. The question comes now with homeowners insurance and with term life insurance. These areas are people, like insurance companies, care about. These are big areas. And so what can Lemonade do to, really exert and show product superiority, right? And I think they need to figure this out. And I don't know if they've completely nailed it with, for example, with homeowners insurance. They're saying, hey, we're not going to really compete on price per se. We want, to compete on quality and other things. But you have to look at it, they're at a disadvantage, right? State Farm versus Lemonade for homeowners insurance. Well, like, who's been around longer? Who's going to be along? Who do you want to trust 10 years down the road?
Some great points by Dave here about Lemonade's ability to dominate the smaller markets, but potentially having to prove themselves in the bigger markets. What I thought about as Dave was talking about this was the fact that Lemonade can pay 1/3 of their claims in seconds makes me think that already they have a fundamental advantage against the incumbents. If you know that you have a 33% chance of getting your claims paid out, then why would you use an incumbent for homeowners insurance? And I do get that maybe as the more expensive and more comprehensive policies get written, the chance of them being paid out instantly goes down. So let's say maybe with homeowners insurance, you don't have a 33% chance of getting your claim paid in seconds. Maybe you have a 5% or 10% or 20% chance, whatever. The fact you still have a chance of not having to go through as much hassle makes me think that Lemonade can do homeowners insurance better than State Farm and Allstate. We'll see if those big incumbents are eventually able to catch up with the technology and maybe they start paying claims instantly. And all of that. But as of right now, no other insurance company is doing that. And I think that gives Lemonade a huge edge. Another thing is the charitable give back program that Lemonade does. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, 75% of what you pay Lemonade goes into a large pot of money. And if that pot of money at the end of the year has produced profits, then those profits end up going towards a charity of your choice. So because I know this, why would I use an incumbent? An incumbent is going to use my premiums. They're going to invest them to create profit, and they're going to draw from that pool to pay claims. But how they're going to invest them is they're going to put them probably in large indexes or bonds or whatever. At least a portion of them is going to go into investments that I would never invest in myself. Let's say oil and gas companies or tobacco companies or whatever it is. And that money is going to then generate them profit. With Lemonade, they are a B Corp, which means that they're going to try their best to use your premium money to make the world a better place. So they're going to invest in emissionless technologies. They're going to put the premium money into things that they think are going to improve the world. And then the profit is used to go to charities of your choice. And so when I'm thinking about a homeowner's policy, if I can go with Lemonade and I know that my money is being used for genuinely good causes, or I can go with an incumbent that is going to put it into the market in a way that could potentially be destructive over the long term. It seems like that value proposition is quite obvious, and I don't know why you would use an incumbent knowing this if the price is comparable. I guess that the point that Dave Lee is making is that he's saying, well, maybe they can't compete with the price, or maybe the big boys can step up their game and they're gonna like really try to make their homeowners or term life policies more appealing. But unless you fix the two things I mentioned, the incumbent's inability to pay claims in seconds and the incumbent using excess premiums for profit rather than charity, I think Lemonade's going to dominate that market in the long term.
Price is a big thing, especially for a person in their 20s, barely making ends meet with their apartment. They want the cheapest and renters insurance, so the easiest too. So Lemonade has to figure out they need to nail it. That's what they really need to do, and they need to nail homeowners. They need to nail term life. So that is the question: are they going to nail it? So that's the question of 2021 for Lemonade. I think that's what all Lemonade investors need to look out for: is okay, is Lemonade, are they nailing? Are they really showing product superiority with homeowners and term life? This is going to show a lot about whether they can, enter more competitive markets as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's also why I'm waiting for the earnings call to see what they want to achieve in 2021, because 2020 sure. was a pretty good year, I think, for Lemonade. They launched pet insurance, they reached that million active customers, but that's nice. But now we want to see what's next. How are you going to grow? How are you going to continue to grow? And with life, I think Shai commented on something on Twitter. It's actually something that they've been working on for a year now. Like I think a lot of people think that life insurance policies get born in a couple of months, but I think they already know what they want to do in 2022. If they're going to car insurance, yes or no, I don't know. Daniel maybe didn't want to hint something, but I would like to see how they reach the next billion customers. How do you sure. grow again and again and again, maybe increase the margins as well, because loss ratios is a very important factor in insurance. I think the earnings, I think in a week or so or two, is going to be pretty important for Lemonade investors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of personally, I'm a bit cutthroat with, or high standards of some of my stuff, because I will hold some stuff even though I'm maybe not happy, but it's a very small percent. With Lemonade, yeah, if they can't show me that they can dominate homeowners insurance some way, this is going to change my view of the company. They really, really need to show that they can show product superiority in homeowners insurance, also term life. Yeah. And if they can't show that, yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, sure, they could be a great company still. I'm not, again, that's the whole thing. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad investment or a bad company or whatever. It's just my standard of that, 10x generational company.
Next, yeah.
Exactly. Are they going to be one of the greatest companies, in our generation? That's type of standard. I change my mind, depending on how the company executes, right? I hold them to a high standard.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think we'll have to wait two more weeks to see where they're at.
It'll be fun to see how Lemonade plays out over the next 10 years. Can this completely digitalized and streamlined approach to insurance that shifts the incentives from attempting to hold back claims to attempting to pay them as fast as possible, and this consumer centric approach really dominate the massive markets that Dave is talking about, the homeowners insurance and the term life, and potentially in the future, car insurance or whatever else comes out. We'll wait and see. But as of right now, I think the fundamentals are looking good. I think the ambition is looking good. The CEO and CFO and Shai, I think he's a CTO. They're very competent and they are trying their best to build an iconic company. And so I can't wait to see how it plays out. If you guys like the video and you made it this far, hit the thumbs up, maybe comment your thoughts down below. Thanks to the Couch Investor for letting me use these clips and talk over them. Thanks to those guys for teaching me everything they've taught me, and I'll see you in the next video.